No. Guys, welcome to ET Land, and today we are going to take a look at AYN Odin 2 Max, which is bought with my own money. So first thing first, I want to make sure you know a few things before we get into this video. First of all, just like I mentioned, I bought it myself and I'm not sponsored by anyone to make this video. So whether I am going to say good things or bad things about this device, this is all coming from my mouth. Second, I am not trying to badmouth this device, but there are many things that I'm not happy with it, and if you are a die-hard fanboy of AYN Odin, maybe you would like to leave this video right now. Third, I am not trying to be a Karen here, so what I'm saying here is what I really want AYN to improve. So please bear all those points in mind when you watch this video. So once again, if you want to watch some kind of videos like Odin 2 is the perfect device, Odin 2 is the one, Odin 2 is blah blah blah, that is wonderful and there is no flaw, please leave this video because you are not going to like it. Okay, so everything was fine up to the point I turn on the device and get into the launcher. However, the problem starts from entering Play Store. When I tried to sign in Google Play, it took me forever to check the information, which was kind of fine when you turn on the device for the first time, but it happened for 4 to 5 times that I couldn't sign in. Normally, when you enter your email address and your password, it will sign in within a minute. If you have two-step authentication on, you will probably need a few more minutes to sign in, but this is just the initial checkup, and what comes to my mind immediately is that they are not using a legit version of Android, and that scares me. So since my first attempt took me about 4 minutes, I'm just going to fast forward it, but you have the idea what happened. The next time I tried, the checking information process didn't take me long. However, after I enter my email and password, it just stuck there, and after I agree with the terms of Google's, it is going nowhere. So I waited for a few minutes and then I tried to enter my passwords and stuff like that again, but it just doesn't work. And then I closed the Google Play Store app and tried to open it again, and this happened. And then I was stuck in the Google Play Store loading page for forever. This is literally the worst unboxing experience that I have ever had. I mean, logging into Google Play Store is just the simplest thing and the most basic thing that you have to do with an Android handheld, and it just couldn't go nowhere. And I also heard a few times from different people saying that there are something wrong with the Google Surface, so I'm sure this is not a bad unit, it is how it is in general. And I have to kill the app again. And that's the moment I realized that something very wrong is going on. Okay, let me enlarge it a little bit. This is a 16GB Odin 2 Max, and there is nothing running that. Well, I know the system is using it, but I only have 7.1GB available, even though I just killed the Play Store and there's nothing, no apps running on it. This is actually insanity to me. Usually a phone running with Snapdragon would probably take up like 3GB or 4GB for the system usage. But a whopping 9GB? What's wrong with you? This problem was quite severe to me because I felt like it was a scam, but it was kind of fixed after the system update. I'm not sure how much the system uses on the base and on the Pro version, but this is how it happens on the Max version. So yeah, I was so mad at the beginning and I put it down for about 2 to 3 weeks. Other than the problems with the RAM and Google Play Store, I also have problems with the geometry, or let's say the ergonomics of this device. You will probably never hear this kind of comments from a male YouTuber with bigger hands because they have bigger hands. This device here has a very prominent grip at the back, even more prominent than that of a ROG Ally, and it makes it very difficult for people who have smaller hands to hold it. When I have to reach the start and select button at the top, that grip, that round shape at the side, and the corner at the bottom always block me from reaching the buttons. It is very hurtful sometimes for me when I have to reach it. And the funny thing is that even though ROG Ally is a much larger and heavier device, I have never experienced any difficulties in reaching any of the buttons. And it is much more comfortable to hold a ROG Ally than an Odin 2 Max. And of course, if we compare it to AYN Pocket Air, we can see that the grips at the Pocket Air is more vertical and this is less prominent. Also, the size of AYN Pocket Air is not as round and prominent as the Odin 2 too. So I think it is really difficult for people who have smaller hands to hold Odin 2. I don't know if it is just me, but I really don't like the analog triggers on Odin 2. The travel is too much and it is not very responsive. When we look at the AYN Pocket Air, it is using a Hall trigger and it is very smooth and responsive. And the travel is much lesser too. For ROG Ally, although it is bigger, the travel is lesser and it is a lot smoother. Probably this is just a personal preference, but for anyone who is used to the Hall triggers, you will probably not like the triggers on Odin 2. Every time I touch it, I just like, ah. The other thing I don't like about the finish of Odin 2 is their D-pad. Like, why is it wiggling like that? When you look at the AYN D-pad, it doesn't wiggle at all. And because it wiggles, sometimes even I try to press it, it is not responsive at all. I mean, even my Mio Mini has a better D-pad and so do all of my other handhelds. So maybe that is also a personal preference, but I really don't know what to say about these. Just a side note, the RGB light is too bright and they still haven't got anything for us that could adjust the brightness. Last but not least, let's talk about the Switch emulation performance on Odin 2 Max. Just to clarify, this is nothing related to the Odin 2 Max or Odin 2, it is just purely related to user emulator. But obviously, the Switch emulation is not going to be perfect. The major problem that I have been experiencing is that they are not going to load up your save data even though you are importing it in the correct format. Only a few games would load up your save data. To be honest, user emulator has been improving day by day and I have seen drastic improvement after the NCA update. However, there are still too many hiccups and I just really couldn't enjoy to play it. For example, when I load up a game and play it to a certain point, I wanted to save it, but since there is no save point at that time, I have to continue the gameplay and then it suddenly blacks out and it goes out to the menu and I couldn't continue to play. Very likely in the near future, the Switch emulation on Android will be very stable and very enjoyable. However, at this time of point, at the end of 2023, this is still not the time. I believe in the near future, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and 8 Gen 3 are going to have good performance in Switch emulation. And I also believe there will be more Android handhelds using these two chipsets in the future. So the question to myself is, if I do not want to play Switch emulation on Odin 2 Max, what is the point of getting it? If I'm only going to play 3DS, Wii, and PS2, very likely Retro Pocket 4 Pro is going to handle that. And of course, the Retro Pocket 4 Pro is going to be a lot cheaper. And if I am looking at a streaming device, then I will choose the AYN Pocket Air. I'm not saying that it is perfect because there are many problems with that too. However, it has a SIM card slot and I can plug in my SIM card and stream my games everywhere. Not to mention that the Wi-Fi chip on the Pocket Air is better than that on the Odin 2, and therefore even if I am in the same environment, I get a better signal on my Pocket Air than that of my Odin 2. And finally, if I want an all-in-one device that can handle all the platforms and all the games for me, including Android games, ROG Ally is going to be the one. So I don't know, maybe I'm just setting my bar of expectation too high, and I know there are many people enjoying their Odin 2 and I'm totally happy for them. But when I saw people saying that this is the perfect device, I think this is just a little bit too exaggerated. This is a good device because they are using the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and it could be any device if they are using the same chipset. But yeah, that's pretty much about this video. I know this is not a happy video, and I do hope that this video can give you some more insight before you buy your Odin 2. I hope I didn't piss off anyone, and I hope to see you in my next video. See ya!